rash on your genitalia you thought was gone, we're back and angrier than ever. Welcome to Story Lords, the prompt-based fiction podcast with 2 stories, 3 prompts, and infinite laughter. I'm Rich, and with me as always is Josh.
Hey, I'm back, like a rash on your dick hole, or whatever he said.
There you go. And Jeff.
And we're angrier and redder than ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Slightly itchy too. This week, we're back for stories, and our prompts were baking and staffs.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot one until it was about 15 minutes before recording and then had to put it in quickly. But, yeah. Yeah.
I have one of those in every story, pretty much.
Yeah, you
Staffs.
do. Baking.
Yeah.
I usually write like a whole baking segment, and then I wind up deleting it because it goes on for. It's like Rich. It goes on for 14 pages.
It's true. You know what would be really fucking funny is if you did an entire baking segment in the middle of your story, but it was like a real baking segment that
like a recipe.
Like a recipe, but yeah.
Oh man, we could have all done that.
You could have done it.
That'd be really
sake.
funny, and I'm sad that I didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's all right. We'll get baking again 100 episodes from now, so just remember.
Thankfully, we didn't get wine, because I've taken a lot of questions about wine today, based on the answers to the Q&A we did last week.
Because Rich doesn't drink New World wine.
Oh,
he only drinks
that's right.
World
That's
wine.
right. He was like, I only drink champagne.
Oh no, I don't like champagne.
Champagne for my real friends and real pain for my sham friends.
Wow. I like Chambrain, personally. the shampoo that fixes your brain.
Champagne. I forgot about that one.
This week, Jeff's going first. So why don't we sidle up to some
I was going to write my story while you guys read yours.
That'll
it looks like we're going to be reading some cookery books today, boys.
No, I can tell my story. If I must.
Sure.
Tell us
you
your
must.
story.
You literally must.
The title of my story is Run, Bitch, Run! TK found herself without rhyme or reason standing in the center of a gigantic white room. Along its walls were seams which divided the flat surfaces into large reflective squares far beyond her reach. The darkness between the cracks seemed to reach out into the perfect sterility of the white room in a way that pulled at her insecurities, drove the fear within her heart even harder. The quiet hum of halogen bulbs was all the sound in the white room she found herself in now.
Oh, God.
There were no explosions. What?
I said, oh, God, the hum of halogen.
Yeah.
I'm having a work flashback.
Yeah. That's PTSD.
Yeah.
There were no explosions, no screaming, nothing. Not even the voices of her friends calling out to her. Just the static hum. Hello? She quietly spoke finally, the sound of her own voice splintering the droning near silence violently enough to cause her to recoil. There was no answer. She strained her eyes against the white and tried hard to focus past the blinding sameness of it all. Her body shuddered at the distant thought in the back of her mind that this was all there was ever going to be now. But there was more suddenly. Far, far in the distance, there was a figure. She could barely make it out from the searing brightness surrounding her, but it was there all the same. Hello? She called a lot louder this time, her voice echoing off the sheer walls and ceiling into infinity down the endless expanse before her. The figure did not stir. TK began to walk very slowly, her every step timid and cautious, but slowly but surely she found herself moving quicker. Something about the space behind her sent her heart to racing every time she faced a new direction. The fear in her blood jolted and spiked every time she took a step, suddenly feeling the oppressing force of something bearing down upon her from behind, something chasing after her in the blinding light. She was suddenly...
Responsibility!
She was suddenly very much like a child running up the stairs to escape the creature in the basement's darkness, running full tilt across the empty expanse towards the figure in the distance. Every step that brought her closer burned her fear deeper into her bones. And then she was upon it. all at once, not like she had ran over, more like she had been transported. The figure sat facing away from her on a small metal chair, slumped forward with loose shoulders and a drooped head. It wore a scientist's coat over a business suit as best she could tell as she slowly walked a circle around its seated body. In its right hand it dangled a bronze metal staff of caduceus, which at one end scraped the floor with its tip.
Caduceus.
Wow. She peered down at the jagged marking it had left on the white floor and puzzled for a moment over its familiarity. It almost looked like a cricket. Hello, I said. Are you... She reached out a hand and placed it to the shoulder of the slumped-over man, but what she felt at her fingertips was wrong instantly. She gasped out loud, every bit of air escaping her lungs as her hand pushed straight through the fabric of the lab coat and sunk deep up to her wrist in its sudden liquid gelatinous form. She wrenched away from it, trying to draw her hand back, but it pulled ever further in like quicksand made of flesh and cloth. TK screamed and placed her foot onto one side of the chair to try to force her arm back from its snare, but her foot instantly sunk into the side of the chair and the man's leg, dropping all the way to the shin almost instantly and causing her to lurch forward enough to sink down to the elbow of her arm along with it. No, please! Why? TK fumbled and screamed, her body melding into the silent, still form of the scientist upon his metal seat. She tried once more to yank away, but felt the pull draw her further and further in. All at once, the scientist's arm lashed around and grasped onto TK's other arm forcefully, its flesh melding directly into hers like two liquids meshing in a glass. The man's head lifted only slightly, turning unnaturally on a seemingly broken neck to stare directly up at TK. For the first time since she arrived, she now knew that this wasn't the body of a man, but of a desiccated corpse. Its eyeless holes, deep and dark as the abyss itself, stared blindly into her, drawing her further and further inward. TK tried to scream, but she wasn't sure if the voice came out of her mouth any longer. Alyssa Madero sat in the middle of 7th Avenue, Whitesville, Connecticut, on her knees. She rocked back and forth, her arms wrapped around the comatose body of TK, who had just gone straight up fucking Super Saiyan or some shit. It blew up a platoon and a bunch of houses in the middle of white-ass suburban USA. The thought that the army could show up at any second had been ping-ponging around inside Alyssa's head since she knelt down there. Or fuck, even worse, what if the NYPD showed up?
Oh my god.
The worst of the worst.
Yo, this shit is wild and crazy, kid. Dips the ghost of a radical 90s skater dude yelled out unironically. He held his head in his hands and was looking around frantically, trying to figure out what to do. Just stop for a second and think, you talking trapper keeper, Alyssa yelled out with a trembling voice, looking over TK to make certain she wasn't hurt physically. Oh man, she's out cold. It doesn't look like she's going to come around anytime soon either. I'm strong, but there's no way I'm going to be able to carry her all the way across town to the car. We need some kind of escape plan, and fast.
Lift.
Whoa, that's totally true, dudette. And I've got, the perfect idea to get us out of this jam, and pronto. Dip spit ghostly saliva into his hands and rubbed them together with a huge grin on his face. And the fact he was a ghost made it absolutely no less disgusting that he did that. Check this shit out, bro. He threw one leg into the air and spun it around in place like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, and then rocket launched his ghostly form up into the air, his body elongating and distorting into the long arc and back down until he'd completely gone into TK's unconscious body in Alyssa's arms. The light blue glowing teen extinguished completely and buried into the human body, causing TK to start convulsing violently in Alyssa's arms then and there. What the fuck? Alyssa screamed out, barely holding onto TK as she rolled this way and that, jerking every muscle in her body in a way that very much mirrored the way your mom be jerking every muscle in my body, if you know what I mean. And I mean sex, which I've had.
Totally convincing.
Him.
Yeah.
TK's eyes suddenly shot open, glowing a light blue around the pupil instead of the normal brown color she sported. "Sup, dude," she said nonchalantly, her voice seemingly overdubbed very slightly by a distorted, distant echo of Dips's weirdly anachronistic SoCal surfer voice. Ah! Alyssa dropped TK's body immediately, causing it to slam into the concrete as she backed away a couple steps to standing. She immediately lurched forward with regret and held her hands out. "Oh shit, TK, I'm sorry!" Whoa! TK's body pushed up off the ground and slowly stood up into an awkward, jerky standing position. "Most uncouth! It's me in here, Dips!" TK's still totally out of it, so I'm gonna just meat puppet her out of town. Hope that's like simpatico and whatnot.
So weird.
Great 90s band.
So weird. Done the hive mind thing again.
Oh no. Oh my god, this is wrong in every way I can possibly conceive of. Alyssa shuddered, her face contorted with disgust. "I guess it's the best plan we've got?" She jogged across the street.
This is a great plan. I love this plan.
She jogged across the street and picked up the slightly torched and torn apart remains of her duffel bag. "I saved so many Pepsi points," she whispered under her breath. Then shook her head and took the remnants of the bag and wrapped it around her shotgun to hide it from view. She took the short walk back over to Dips TK, which is what I'm going to use for shorthand because fuck explaining the whole possession situation every time I gotta have this fucking character say a stupid 90s one-liner to finally catch a fucking laugh on this stupid fucking podcast.
Wow!
I mean for convenience sake.
Okay.
Let's get the hell out of here before was too late, because it was now, which was after before. But before had passed before now could occur later. So it was now, which was when this was happening.
Wow.
And you didn't win a Pulitzer this year?
Across the street, Across the street, two large steel doors emerged from the ground, slamming with the telltale sound of immense heft onto the torn-up earth where the nondescript old building and its guardian militia had once stood. Alyssa narrowed her eyes and kept the duffel bag remnants full of pump-action shotgun at the ready to her side. 3 figures emerged from the earth below the ruins of the building, one by one into the open light of dusk. The first was a massive white man with a blonde military flat top and deep-set, hateful eyes. He wore some kind of Party City military man costume, it looked like, since it didn't have any insignias or logos anywhere on it, but it did have the jack boots that this kind of stupid fucking redneck army cosplayer just can't seem to get enough of.
Yeah.
The second was another white man, this time in a snakeskin jacket and boots with sunglasses and, I shit you not, a fucking pompadour haircut with a green streak in it. Was this actually cosplay of some kind from an anime that Alyssa just never heard of before? Not that she would ever watch anime, that was for geeks, and she was a cool biker chick. So stop fucking thinking she would watch anime, because she wouldn't, like, ever.
Wow.
Maybe, like, sometimes if it's gory or something, she'd tell people sometimes and gauge their reactions, but that's it.
Wow.
And a third honky followed them out. Alyssa probably should have listened to her uncle about how all white people are evil, she guessed. This one had long, flowing, braided white blonde hair and a flowy little sundress with poofy sleeves and all. She had the desire to say, "What the fuck?" out loud, but got the feeling that antagonizing 3 murder crackers wasn't the best idea right now.
Murder crack.
Of course, we know who these 3 are by now, I'd fucking hope. Hawk, Snake, and Miller. But Alyssa didn't know, so I thought I'd do a little something called building a scene for a change. I read about it online.
Wow.
It's very Tarantino-esque what you're doing right now.
"You blew our damn base up!" Hawk screamed out, fists clenched as he took heaving footsteps towards Alyssa and TK Dips. "I ought to rip your shit out of your own ass and feed it to you, maggot!"
Jesus.
"Fucking hell," Miller said plainly, shaking her head at Hawk before turning her eyes back to the women across the street. "Roid rage aside, he's got half a point, dears. You did blow up the building we were using as cover for our base. Fucking semantics, Miller? Really? You petty little bitch? Hawk snapped back at her.
The honeymoon's over, boys.
Look, ladies. Snake walked nonchalantly across the street, hands in the pockets of his slacks. One of you is an esper, which is a rare and valuable thing. If you were to surrender to us, then we'd be more than happy to allow both of you to live, such as can be arranged.
That doesn't sound very convincing.
These dudes were gonna do what to our shit? Dips TK whispered as he leaned over to Alyssa warily. Alyssa ignored him and took a step forward. I don't know who you are, but let us go and we won't ever come back here again. We didn't know about any of this when we arrived. And if we can go, then we still don't know about any of this. And no one else will either.
Sure.
Miller narrowed her eyes and drew a smartphone out of her side pocket on her dress, drawing it up to her face and beginning to type in and scroll around. I think we have a file on you two somewhere. Hold on, don't move a muscle. She paused and worked a little on the phone before adding, or we'll rip them all out of you. I would appreciate if you didn't try that. A deep voice broke the tension-filled silence only a moment later. Every face turned as fast as they possibly could on that street at that moment to see where the confident, casual voice had come from. Standing there in the middle of the street, only a few yards down 7th Avenue, was a figure clad in a long black overcoat, with wavy black hair swaying ever so gently in the breeze.
Cricket Man!
What the fuck? This guy's still alive? Snake? Miller screeched out accusingly, throwing both of her hands towards the man in the overcoat like that Will Smith meme where he's showing shit that went around everywhere before he slapped Chris Rock in the face and people got pissed baby upset about that for whatever fucking reason and stopped using it. I didn't say I killed Tachibana, Snake grumbled under his breath, peering over the top of his sunglasses. Just said I won the fight is all. Not exactly how I remember it, Ryo Tachibana said with a slight grin curling the edge of his lip. Yeah. There's 3 of us and 1 of him. Let's just rip him to pieces and have a meal out of it right now. Ain't no reason to stand around yapping so damn much, Hawk screeched out in frustration.
Damn, dude, calm the fuck down.
Alyssa and TK Dips exchanged glances. The two of them have been standing there being ignored this entire time, and had just about decided it would be totally worth it to just book it the fuck out of there while they still had a chance. Neither of them understood a word of this unfolding Power Rangers drama happening in front of them anyway.
Rangers!
But before either of them could make a move, the gigantic man called Hawk was in motion, and moving faster than either of them had ever seen anything move in their lives. It felt like a second or two had passed at most, and Hawk had cleared the distance between himself and Ryo, leaping up into the air and heaving his massive fist down at the much smaller man.
Gorilla Man!
Hawk, don't! Snake screamed out, but it was again, as is the cliche of my writing, too late to matter. Ryo ducked his body low and slid to the side of the oncoming punch, almost too fast to even follow, his hand darting up and latching around the much larger man's incoming fist. The leverage of the gigantic body coming at him and his low fulcrum point made it child's play to smash the massive Hawk's form directly into the hard concrete below them. The sickening smash of flesh and bone against stone reverberated down the long corridor of houses, and an explosion of blood spiked out in a star pattern from Hulk's skull striking the pavement.
Jesus.
Fucking hell, Snake said under his breath. Ryo took a step to the side. Hawk's lifeless body flopped down onto the concrete, motionless in its own pool of blood. You're as good as the master said, Miller grinned ruefully at Ryo, rubbing at her chin. I can see why you're so damn important to him. None of that means a goddamn thing to me, Ryo said with narrowing eyes, starting a slow walk down the street towards Snake and Miller. All I care about is killing every last one of you. You handle this, Snake, like you were supposed to begin with. Miller glared with disgust on her all over her face to Snake now, who barely even acknowledged her in return. I'm returning to Arclay momentarily. Try not to fuck this up this time, would you? I wouldn't miss you for shit. but there aren't a whole lot of us chrysalids left at this point. You're welcome.
Down.
You're welcome for that, Rio spat out with a grin, about halfway to the two of them at this point. But he had to stop, like everyone else did, when he heard the sickening, sputtering, bloody pop of bone behind him. He rolled his eyes and turned around to look back down the street. Can't any of you freaks ever just stay down? Hawk's corpse was shuddering, its body heaving to and fro, and bones began to break and meat tear within it. This was old hat to some of the folks gathered here, but Alyssa and TK Dips watched with absolute horror as the corpse of Hawk began to split open like an eggshell, massive bladed wings emerging out of it like surgery from the inside out.
It's a crystal light.
The thing within him clawed its way, bloody and screaming, into life. A gigantic, twisted, bird-like man with 6 eyes ranging up its elongated, distended head, which it threw back and screeched hellfire to the heavens upon its emergence. Yo, I can't fucking throw up cause this isn't my body, but boy do I want to, dude. Dips cried out from within TK, holding her hand over her mouth to keep from blowing chunks. He figured it'd be rude to get sick in a rental and all.
That's clever as hell.
Alyssa flung the tattered duffel bag off of her shotgun and leveled it at the pulsating, bloody hawk monster that she had never even imagined in her nightmares, but was now going to keep her up at night for years if she managed to survive all this hokey-ass horror movie horse shit. Fine then, was all Rio Tachibana said at the sight. He gripped onto the lapel of his overcoat and flung it off his body in one sweeping motion, which physically didn't make any sense, but badasses do it in animation and shit all the time, so it still looks super cool, and no one bothered to question it, especially the podcast audience.
That's right.
And they never did.
By the time his overcoat had hit the ground, Rio wasn't standing there any longer. In his place was another heaving, horrid beast straight out of the deepest recesses of the human psyche. Surrounded by the detritus of his human form and screeching at the top of his inhuman lungs was a 7-foot-tall insectoid monster, its reverberating scream vibrating the mandibles which hung dripping from its open maw.
Jesus.
The change had happened so rapidly that Alyssa and Dips TK hadn't even registered this one. Jesus, fuck, there's 2 of them! Alyssa screamed out and turned to start running. This is getting out of hand, Dips screamed through TK and also began to run, unaware of the reference he was making because he died before that movie even came out. Still a banger ref, though, I would say. What?
We should not have made this bargain.
The 2 massive horrors slammed into each other hard enough to cause glass to shatter out of neighboring homes' windows, the force sending Alyssa and TK Dips to go flying and skidding across the hard pavement. They scrambled as fast as they could to their feet, as fast as they could to their feet, their elbows and knees bleeding and scuffed. But before they would even start running again, they were flung from their feet once more by another gigantic beast slamming into the first 2. This time a horrific spiraling serpent with blood gushing from its body as if it was born anew only moments before. Finally, they managed to get to their feet and started to run, dipping across a long front lawn and back behind a few houses into alleyways, and across driveways into the distance, trying as hard as they could to put distance and objects between them and the freak show they were trying to escape.
It's like a horrifying Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes. It's playing that song the whole time, too.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
What the freak was that, dude? Dips yelled through TK's voice, looking back every few seconds to scope out what was going on. His running in her body was extremely awkward and jerky, and always seemed like he was about to fall on her face at any second, but he somehow maintained. This can't be real, man. It's like B-movie junk. You're a ghost boy! A ghost boy! Alyssa screamed out.
Yeah.
Fighting every urge in her body to slap TK Dips in the back of the head, since this is the only time Dips would ever be able to feel it, probably. But she didn't want to hurt TK. Touche, bro, was all Dips said in return, focusing far too much on piloting this unconscious meat puppet to clamber over a tall wooden fence at the back of the alleyway and over, to land on the other side without breaking anything. It had been a long time since he had to worry about that kind of shit. All along the way, they could hear roaring, screeching, hissing, the sounds of massive bodies slamming into each other, bursting through stone and wood, the sound of massive amounts of blood spattering onto concrete. It was a sickening orchestra that wouldn't cease no matter how far they got away. Where are we even going, brah? They said they got a file on you two, so they for sure know where you're staying, TK Dips finally concluded about 3 blocks away, both of them still running as hard as they could. We're just getting a car. Fuck our stuff. We could buy new stuff. Alyssa screamed through huffs and puffs. Cardio not really being her kind of workout, she much preferred weightlifting.
Fuck cardio, it sucks.
We gotta get TK to a hospital. No hospital, TK's voice alone yelled out, beginning to catch herself running herky-jerkily and flattening out her pace and gait to run like a normal human being. She looked around frantically as she did, confusion writ across her face. TK, you're awake? Alyssa yelled, almost stopping running, but then placing a hand on TK's shoulder and guiding her to continue her running pace. Keep running! These horror show freaks are still fighting. Do you remember any of that? No? What the hell just happened? Horror show freaks? TK fumbled over her words, shaking her head as the two of them rounded another corner and had to run across another open street to make it to the houses across the way for more cover. Dips's non-corporeal form exploded out of the top of TK's head, just like you'd imagine it would look, you fucking dirty bird, you.
Damn, that's like what I thought it looked like.
But like see-through.
Yeah.
He swirled into the air. He swirled into the air and reformed into his normal human adjacent form, shaking his head and going like a cartoon dog. You got some rough headspace to try and survive it, sister. Tell me about it, TK yelled, beginning to huff and puff herself. She wondered how long she'd been running by this point. Alyssa tried her best to explain what was going on as the trio rounded a set of houses, crossed their backyards, hopped the fence, and ended up in the alley lane behind them. But all 3 stopped pretty instantly when they landed in the lane behind the fence, and 2 of them found themselves standing in the middle of a boardroom in an office building. There was a long mahogany table in the middle of the room, with chairs lining it on either side, each one inhabited by an old white man of some kind in a business suit, each of them glaring hatefully at the 2 sudden arrivals. A gigantic sign on the wall and neon lights behind them read, Arclay Bakeries. At one end of the table was a gigantic landscape window showing what looked like a large metropolitan city outside. At the other end, a gigantic chair sat with its back turned to the entire room, slowly rocking back and forth as smoke poured from behind it. What the fuck is going on? TK whispered, leaning over to Alyssa, who stood just as dumbfounded watching. When did this story become Glengarry Glen Ross? She asked. Referencing a movie that no one ever references in real life ever.
Always be spooking.
Please take a seat, a feminine voice from behind the gigantic chair at the end of the room muttered. TK and Alyssa glanced over the table to find 2 empty seats toward the middle of the endless rabble of old honkies seated around it. They then looked over to each other, noticing they were both dressed in fresh business suits and slacks with fine Italian shoes.
What the fuck?
None of this really seemed that out of the ordinary for some reason to them, so they took their seats. The gigantic chair slowly turned around, revealing Miller seated with a cigarette dangling from between her ruby red lips. She wore a business suit of her own, with wide fake shoulders and a pencil skirt. Her hair was twisted up into a very loose high bun, and she wore a pair of thin, round-framed glasses on the lower bridge of her nose.
Am I into Miller now?
Huh?
Am I into Miller now?
You weren't before?
Yeah.
Very good, she said with a smirk. I hope you don't mind that I smoke in here. They really frown upon it in the waking world these days. She chuckled a little. Not that this isn't that or whatever, of course. TK and Alyssa exchanged glances, then turned back and smiled politely at their boss who had called this meeting. Of course, they said in unison. Now what to do about these quarterly reports? We're a chain of bakeries, my dears. We're in the business of making dough, not losing it. I'm afraid the two of you might be under the axe for this. She grinned ear to ear, smoke cascading from the cigarette up around her features. The axe! Every man in the room yelled at once, then fell to silence once more, continuing to glare at the two of them. Baking? Alyssa mouthed to herself. For some reason, she'd been under the impression that they sold flowers, didn't they? Oh, we prepared the quarterly report as you requested. I'm pretty sure, TK piped up, then slowly sidled back into her chair, rubbing her forehead absently. Are you two okay? Dips asked, floating in the middle of the alley between two high fences in the middle of suburbia. TK and Alyssa stood wall-eyed and mouth agape on either side of him, slowly shuffling back and forth and looking around as if they were seeing something that he couldn't. He waved a translucent hand in front of each of their faces and then shook his head. Major bad vibes, dudes. Most heinous.
Dips!
Like
do something useful.
Like taking candy from a baby. A distorted, distant voice flitted into the scene, causing Dips to recoil away from his two friends with widened eyes. Slowly floating down from the now darkening sky was an almost angelic being, were it not for the intense waves of malice and fear it was causing to waffle through him at that moment. Ghosts can feel that kind of thing from everyone, but he had never felt it this concentrated, this powerful. A feminine figure draped in dozens of moth wings, which encircled her from her ankles all the way up to almost her shoulders as a dress would. Blood-red spatters all over them, and two sets of almost unfathomably large wings which kept her aloft as she descended upon them in that lone alley, just as the night did. She would seem human at first glance in silhouette, until the elongated bladed feelers in place of her feet and hands, and the massive segmented eyes which drew up and around the sides of her head, barely parting the massively long white hair which flowed and split around her like an aura could be seen.
Yeah, I'm definitely into this.
She touched down and began to walk towards Alyssa and TK, slowly but surely. Aw, dude, bogus. Dips floated above, watching in absolute horror helplessly as the moth creature stepped up to his only two friends in the world and began to reach out towards them. You I'll keep. Snake is a blithering moron, but he was right about one thing. Miller drew up her segmented bladed fingers and ran them ever so slowly across TK's face, leaving behind small trails of blood from her touch in their wake. An esper is a rare and valuable thing indeed. She then turned to Alyssa and grinned, her teeth elongated and sharp in her mouth, and dripping a strange yellowy ooze down her chin as she opened her mostly humanoid lips. Oh. You, on the other hand, at least you'll make for a decent meal. To be continued.
I knew it.
Sloppy ooze down her chin, eh? I was trying to think where that was going.
Yeah, it's getting a little rich master. That was awesome.
Good.
Thank you. One of these days I'm going to write a horror story and not just an action story, but we'll see.
Well, I think you're good at the big fight scenes.
Yeah,
they're good.
What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
Nothing.
And it's monster fight. It's monster fight. It's good.
I want to see monsters fight.
Yeah.
Like, this would be, like, such a good, like, YA novel, dude. Like, this is, like, a real-ass novel. Like...
Oh, thank you.
Like, well, yeah.
I guess, like, all of the characters are very slightly too old for a YA novel. Because they're all, like, in their 20s.
But, like, kids like that, right?
I guess
like,
it's
I don't
true.
know. Kids like, you know... that type of age range.
Yeah.
Kids love a 52-year-old Pavlov flinch.
Yeah, kids.
Who doesn't?
Dude, he was going to be on Riverdale, but they were like, no, we can't get that sexy.
He was going to do that gif of the redhead raising her leg at the lockers.
He was going to do
God, I think that would instantly kill him if he tried to do that.
And then like a foghorn goes.
He lets out a really squeaky fart.
Yeah.
Scariest story ever.
Damn.
Yeah, it was good. Again, you're nailing it with the description. I can't say this every week. Like,
Nah,
Yeah,
say it.
I know. I
Say it
feel like
every
I'm
week.
just. Yeah. It's just like it's really good. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Other than I hate going last and fuck you, fuck both of you. You both suck. I hate you.
Wow. There's a lot of hints in
Wow.
this one, by the way, of like upcoming things in the story.
I hope Dips gets useful. That would be good.
Dips has
He
saved the
meat
day
puppeted.
multiple times at this point.
Has he though?
He possessed that fat kid, and he helped TK kill the bee monster.
The trombone
Yeah,
kid.
the trombone kid. He helped TK kill the monster. He also
right,
carried
that's
TK's body away from the danger just now. So he's pretty
Yeah.
useful for a dead guy.
yeah.
I guess.
I mean, there is a obvious Dead Man parallel that I feel like, as a comic fan, you are obviously a Dead Man fan as well.
Yeah, I like Dead Man.
Yeah.
I like Dead Man. And I love the idea of ghost powers.
Yeah.
I always thought that Danny Phantom kind of overlooked all the fun ghost powers so that he
Yeah.
could shoot green lasers for some reason.
Yeah.
So, and I also, I don't know if anybody like even picked up on this joke or whatever, but like, I was making it seem like for the longest time that TK could see Dips because she was psychic and no one else could, but then it turned out that Dips just doesn't,
Yeah.
show himself to whoever the fuck he wants.
Yeah, he just didn't want to show himself, yeah.
He's just kind of being a little bit of a dick. Like,
yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
He's got to trust people.
Oh my
It's a
god,
trust
he's
issue.
dead. What are they gonna do to him? He's dead.
look, they could call the Ghostbusters
Yeah.
at any moment. What if they call the Candle Cousins? They'll send him across to the next world.
Man.
Oh god, you're right.
Are the Candle
Good thing
Cousins canon to this story? Is it a real thing?
They're stuck on summer vacation, so they don't get to go.
Summer Vacation 2005.
Yeah.
How old would they be in this timeline, though?
40s.
Yeah. It was, yeah, because it's 20 years difference, right? 20 years?
I guess
No, it's a
they'd be in
little
their
bit longer.
30s. I guess they'd be in their 30s.
Yeah. Will they show up as their older selves? That would be really good.
Well, you'll have to wait and see.
I
mean-
can't wait.
Technically, Adam Frankenstein could show up in this chronology as well. He's ageless.
I'm leery about the idea of including a story of Adam Frankenstein that's set any time in the future because he could die at any moment in these stories.
Just sew his ass back together. Put them neck bolts back in. He's fine.
Would I kill my cash cow Adam Frankenstein, though, is the question.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right.
Can't do that.
So, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
Homicidal madman.
to episode part 2. Oh, I just said episode 2. Going back in time.
You fucking fucked it up so hard.
No one is going to listen to this podcast now.
No,
Good
wow.
job.
We're
Man.
hemorrhaging patrons.
Oh, man. Well, yeah. But nothing to do with me. My episode this week is called What's Love Grop to Do With It?
What's love grop to do with it?
On Mount Barbarous, the remaining 4 pillars of a lemur sat in a wide circle. Or a square, I guess, because there was only 4 of them. Missing, of course.
A parallelogram.
Missing, of course, was the Wraith, the chief assassin on duty in the Far Rim, and the Word, who had been missing since before the war had even started. The new Wrath, their old attendant Grorp, was also absent. He hadn't attended a session of the Pillars since being made their leader by the Greywoods, and they hadn't seen him in person since the Greywoods had killed the Watch for his failure with General Clamphands, letting Kellan Amray escape. Who says that this story is too complicated? Who? Who dares say this story is complicated?
Give me their names.
That was an impression of someone from history, I think, too.
Where are your papers?
If we don't convince him this plan is foolish, he's going to get us all killed, said the Will, their religious leader. She stabbed at the fires in the centre of the room. Look, I know that we haven't always seen eye to eye, but we agree on why we're here, to defend the system and defend her people. Chasing a teenager at the expense of the realm is the worst idea since people putting Patreon cash before friendship and fucking up a perfectly good podcast. Thank God that other better show replaced it. What was it called? Story. Lords have mercy, said the Rip.
Amazing.
Standing up. One of us needs to find him and tell him how stupid this is. He lived here for years. He is one of us. He'll understand. He's sensible. Where the hell is he? The Way gestured behind them. He's in the galley. He's baking apology muffins to the Greywoods for not catching Kellan yet. Ding. The ward laughed sickly. He's insane. Gods. I'll go talk to him, the Rit said, standing. He marched through the curtain and to the back of the living quarters and into the galley. The muffins were made and on the counter, but Raph was nowhere to be seen, and Rit called to him. In the silence that echoed back, he heard the creepy whispers that would make your normal layperson run. We've all seen horror movies, we're not stupid. Sadly, the Rit had not seen a single one, and ventured towards the back of the galley in the direction of the creepy whispering. And
Bitch, get out the room!
Run, bitch, run!
Run, bitch, run!
And as he rounded the corner, Grorp sat on the floor, looking at his own reflection in the bottom of a pan and holding a rolling pin. Grorp. I'm Grorp, he whispered, and looked at Rit.
What the fuck?
I remember. Rit ran to his fellow pillar, in shock at his lack of rhyming, putting a hand to his back. Grorp, are you okay? Explain to me, Grorp. But Grorp was lost in memory. And I'm glad, because I'm not the least bit invested in writing any more of this scene. Onwards!
Wow. Honesty in writing.
Darkness, evil, brimstone, sulphur, a well of despair with no escape, a desperate hole no one should ever find themselves in. No, not your mother's pants. We find ourselves in a hellish dimension.
I love this like 1940s serial. It's great.
You would think it would be hot in a hell dimension because of all your years of westernised, Christianity-informed versions of hell. But in actuality, sometimes hell was more just humid and rainy, kind of like an English summer. As she sat behind the
Right, what you know.
As she sat behind the lava shores, Kellan posited that she felt like those sweaty dollar bills that your average Walmart skank pulls out of their bras. No one wants your titty money, you gross degenerates!
No titty dollars.
I mean, thank God this isn't in the Middle Ages and you were paying with a tally stick, because I don't want to imagine where you'd be pulling that gross, tide-marked, phallus-shaped stick from.
It's all worn smooth from use.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus, this is my first paragraph, Kellen thought. The chapter is going to be angrier than a boomer when someone suggests seasoning in food. What makes you stare so into space with such severe resting bitch face? Grawp looked up with a two-toothy smile, his small, ethereal demon form floating there next to her like a sentient fart. Was it really possible that this harmless little goblin-looking thing was somehow the thing that killed her mother and allowed the Greywoods to assume control of Alima? I mean, probably, right? Grawp isn't exactly a common name like John or Mohammed or Skanky Old Bitch. What do you mean Skanky Old Bitch isn't a common name? Then why are so many of your mums called that?
God. Alley-oop.
We need to move soon. We can't get caught by any of the roaming groups of demons, Kellen said, pushing herself off the ground and rubbing the brimstone off her slacks. It's been weeks, Grawp. We need to find my sister. You spoke too soon and now they come. Through the gauntlet we must run, Grawp said.
Oh God, this fucking guy.
A gang of male demons stared at them as they wandered down the beach with a purpose. A gang of reds, the worst of the standard demons, and 8 strong. They were made up of the worst in hell, the ultimate sinners, the ones from the central spheres alongside the pedophiles and Judas. And as they came face to face, Kellen knew she was going to have a fight on her hands. She raised her warhammer Doomcock and pointed it towards the crowd. 10 miles away stood a castle, carved out of 2 dragons who died doing it dragon style, which is, well, whichever sexual position is just a little too much for you, listener. That's it. And if you have no limits, then what are you saying? That you'd have sex with your mother? Or an animal? Or the dead? Or your dead animal mother?
Jesus Christ.
What does that have to do with 2 dragons having sex?
Why are you grilling us?
Well, shame on you. The castle grew out of the banks of a river of lava.
Wow, that was the end of that sentence, huh?
The castle grew out of the banks of a river of lava that ebbed and flowed with a strong, thick tide of high waves of fire. On the banks, 2 surf bro demons in cargo shorts stood watching the tide, then grabbed their boards as a large wave of lava came on the horizon. They jumped into the tide, only for the boards to instantly melt and the demons sink into the lava. Harsh bro, one said. Totally, the other responded as he melted. Who dares try to show me up? I'm the powerful one here, the leader of this hell dimension. No one has a bigger dick than me, and I have the meanest vagina in the 10 spheres. Beef Curtain shouted as her attendant followed her. As she paced, trying to fan her.
This is pretty derivative, this one. I feel like I'm similar.
I agree, your thick-firedness. You have a dick that would make famous Lothario Girth Hangdrop die of jealousy.
Lothario? Jesus Christ.
Oh,
Get your dictionaries out, kids.
That or the many sexually transmitted diseases he eventually died with. Quiet, Spellgore, you obsequious little cancerous polyp. But Beef Curtain snapped. This girl is performing magic, willy-nilly, with impunity, and is and it's challenging my authority as queen bitch of this dimension. And I want them to suffer. And not just in the pleasant way I like, or the way you suffer when you bring me my tea at anything other than perfect drinking temperature. There's a little bit of me in Beef Curtain.
Damn.
Yeah, a little, yeah. In America, we wouldn't be so mad about the tea.
No. Spellgore looked down at his bandaged, burned hands. You had previously said that you liked it hot to heighten the anticipation of drinking. Spellgore, what have I said about contradicting me? That contradicting you implies the possibility of me being right, which is statistically impossible as R. Kelly passing a kindergarten without breaking into a sweat. Beef Curtain's head tilted. No, well, yes, but I mean the other thing. Spellgore shuffled uncomfortably. That contradicting you is a one-way ticket to Disembowel Town? Indeed, Beef Curtain sighed. I don't know, Spellgore. I just feel so low lately. Ruling the worst of the worst just isn't as rewarding as it used to be. There's only so many times you can boil someone's blood in their own bodies before it isn't even sexually gratifying anymore.
Yeah, I hear that.
As they came to the double doors of the Great Hall located in the Dragon Castle's nutsack, Spellgore's speed...
Now I know where we are. The setting has been set.
Is this Daranos I'm reading about?
Yeah.
Spellgore speeded up to sidle to his master. You still have me, my queen. Beef Curtain pushed the doors open. You have a point, Spellgore. There really is nowhere to go but up from rock bottom.
Spellgore, you fucking idiot.
The Great Hall was large and echoing, and the Queen of Hell took her position on the throne made up of old boyfriends she had petrified and broken into the shape of a seat. She had taken particular joy in that, making the man who never went down on her face the seat of her chair.
Jesus, what a fucking like a fucking prude, dude.
What is he,
Batman?
Yeah, what is he, Batman?
Her war council stood in a large semicircle around her on the floor, her generals of hell. There were the three capitalist fates, Beelzebub, Muskrat, and the Gateskeeper, hooded in the gold they had stolen and died with, like pharaohs of old, but really shit. There was Hitlerbot, the former leader of the Nazis.
Oh no.
In the robot body.
Here we go.
In the robot body he had died in. There was the techno witch J.K. Rowling, who was complaining about the lack of single-sex toilets in the castle. There was Lord Uruk, the trans-dimensional troll, who ate babies but was somehow embarrassed to be the most decent person in the room.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
There was that postman who delivers your items like they've been dragged through a fucking mangle, even though it clearly says fragile on the fucking tape. Oh, and he was a vampire. And then there was a small serpent dog called Malcolm, who stayed separate from the rest.
What?
No.
What?
Rowling and the three fates of capitalism stepped forward. Well, if it isn't the cunt Rushmore of historic villainy.
Amazing.
Beef Curtain said, putting her legs up on the armrest of the throne. Where is this magical bitch? The techno witch stepped forward. I'm here, my queen. Not you, Joe! Just because you wrote some shitty, inconsistent fantasy magic wank books that are about as basic as a white girl with a frappuccino reaching for the pumpkin spice doesn't mean you're magic.
Fucking got her.
Damn, dude.
Although if you were magic, at least you could fucking disappear quickly. With a wave of her hand, Rowling was dismissed in a cloud of orange smoke that enveloped and transported her away. Beef Curtain turned to the three...
But what gender was this?
Oh, that's why it was orange. I didn't pick blue or pink.
Nice.
Beef Curtain turned to the three fates of capitalism, their snake bodies they had assumed in hell slithering forward slightly. Has the money you put on the girl's head borne any fruit? The three man-snakes looked at each other, awkwardly, and then began immediately blaming each other for their collective ineptitude. I propose we call our collective the X-Fates, Muskrat said. Our branding's all wrong, and these two just aren't... they're just so resistant to change. Beelzebub scoffed. What is your obsession with the letter X? You're like an incel teenage edgelord. We don't need to change anything. I like the model the exact way it's been for the past 4 millennia. Won't someone think of the environment, Gateskeeper whined. I mean, obviously, and not me or anyone who clearly has the money to do anything about it.
Yeah.
You're
somebody else.
You're all as fucking useless as you were in life, you leeches. Beef Curtain dismissed them, then turned to the others. And so, I turn to my old reliables. You are the primo henchmen of hell, my maestros of misery. Serve me well and find her. And how exactly do you propose we do that? Hitler demanded.
We're back.
Just the volume of that.
Uruk, house the Dracula and I can kill her, but we are not bloodhounds.
That means dog.
I'll think of something to tempt her in. She dismissed the three of them, leaving her with Malcolm, who came trotting over to her, his forked tongue tasting the air. You're used to this, Malcolm. You've been there at the end with other heroes of evil. Is this the end for me? Is this the end of all things? How am I going to beat her? He opened his mouth and let his tongue loll out. Well, buddy, I've seen full-ball warlords go down to fairies. Alien invaders lose against Will Smith and Jeff Goldblum, and techno demons go down to a gold girl playing a guitar with her band of dimension hoppers. I've seen them come and go like yesterday's Taco Bell, and some extremely violently, like the day before yesterday's leftover Taco Bell.
I'm really hungry for Taco Bell now.
It's really funny to hear a southern accent say Taco Bell in an English manner.
Taco Bell.
These time travelers, they're about as unpredictable as a drunk hookup. You might think you're going to bed with Girth Hand Drop, but then you wake up with Teensy Pecker Mouse. Alls I know is, that thing you be keeping down in your dungeon, he's the key to catching your witch. Thank you, Malcolm. Spellgore cleared his throat. Who are you talking to, your skin-peelingness?
Uh-oh.
No.
She turned and glared, then swung back to where Malcolm had been, but the damn dog had vanished again. Storming past her assistant, she walked to the bookcase on the far side of the hall and ran her finger over the tomes. Crime and Punishment, Of Human Bondage, Don Quixote. But then she found the book she was looking for.
Did you say Don Quixote?
Don Quixote.
Oh, I thought you said Don Quixote. like it was
Donkey. Don Quixote.
donkeys. Yeah, Don Quixote.
Then-
Just the like horror monster books that someone would have, and then Don Quixote.
Then found the real book she was looking for, the evilest one of them all. Miles to Go, the autobiography of Miley Cyrus. She shuddered.
What did she do?
I don't know. Before pulling the book, and the shelf moved with a creak of stone to reveal the secret staircase within. Come on, Beef Curtain hissed, pressing her arse to the torch to light it with its pure hotness, and holding it in front of her
Nice.
as she almost jogged down the steps. When she came to the bottom, she stood in front of a magical barrier, shimmering in what looked like a green liquid wall. Beyond it, a man sat, hunched forward in a filthy hooded robe. The soles of his feet were crusted in filth, and his hands were blackened. He swirled a finger in the air, and the small dust motes at his feet danced. How long have you been back, my beloved? A year? 5? Beef Curtain smiled. 6 years. 27 days, and this thrilling conversation, the man said, still focused on his dust dance. You haven't tortured me for a few weeks, my queen. Too busy basking in your own dickishness? What are Robo-Reich, the far writer, and the rest of the moron mob's tongues not sufficiently up your arse today? I would oblige, of course. It's just I'm a little dry and I hate you with every cell of my entire body. Why the constant hostility, my betrothed? Surely that should wait until after our marriage contract has dried. She smiled, then gestured for Spellgore to remove the barrier. The man's attention lifted. I know you're going to want to try and kill me as soon as I drop this barrier, my disobedient little dog, but there is a rift walker in my hellscape, one that I will happily destroy unless you help me convince her to leave. Consider it my wedding gift. She immediately noticed the twist of head when she mentioned the rift walker. The barrier came down and he was on his feet and at her throat in an instant. Spindly thin fingers wrapped around Beef Curtain's neck. He squeezed, but she vanished, an illusion. And then she was behind him, a sharp stab in his shoulder, before being lifted off the ground by the giant scorpion tail that floated out from under her very tight leather miniskirt.
This is hot as fuck.
He laughed with desperation. What gives you the impression I know anything about some random intruder to our shithole of a dimension? As she twisted him to face her, his hood fell down to reveal his face. While admittedly, this would be more impactful in a visual medium, though older, scarred and emaciated, the face was clearly that. of an older Florgo.
I knew it!
I fucking knew it.
Must be magic, she smirked. The lead demon stood before Kellen and Grorp, suddenly sticking a hand out to her. Hey, human! My boys and I haven't seen you on these shores before, and I've got one question for you. A demon said to Kellen. What house are you? We're mainly Slytherin, all upset Marcus, because he's totally a Hufflepuff, right, Marcus? The crowd parted to show Kellen a huge, muscular demon in flood pants and braces. Yeah, I'm not really very remarkable, he said, before
Wow.
before getting his phone from his
This
pocket
is hell.
and playing shitty compressed music through his shitty phone speakers and expecting everyone in a public place to be okay with it.
Dude, what the fuck is up with that?
It's always shit as well. It's always shit songs.
Yeah, it's never anything
just
good.
like-
It's never
yeah.
anything good.
Yeah. Agreed.
It was then that Kellen noticed the t-shirt one of the demons was wearing. It said, "Being gay, not okay" on it. Kellen squinted at him and gripped the warhammer tighter. It's Kelbork and Skeeve, not Kelbork and Squeeve, he said smugly. Kellen struggled to hide her confusion. Wait, is Squeeve a male name or something? I'm not really familiar with your demon naming conventions. The demon sneered. Well, that actual name is unisex, but it's the only one that rhymes. Anyway, it's not the point. We're street loving two old Harry Potter fans that play our music in public, occasionally do improv sessions for people that don't want to hear it, have our phone keytones on loud, and also my boy Limit here has this new cryptocurrency he wants to talk to you about.
Limit.
Limit. Limit walked up with his Restore the Snyderverse hat on. Basically,
I wanna
he
leave.
started. With a wave of her hand, Kellen rifted them all so that they were half encased in the rocky ground that lay below them. They writhed, trying to free themselves from the demonic mountain they had become. Hey, you can't just leave us here, you Mary Sue. We're male demons. We have a demon god. We have a demon god-given blood right to be here. Kellen rifted the demon's mouth onto his butt to stop him talking.
How does that work?
Every time with you Potter, adult, racist, homophobic Snyder and crypto bros. I'd say go to hell, but this place is way too good for you. Just stop complaining. You're demons. You'll figure out a way eventually. Grort pulled at Kellen's sleeve, then nodded towards the group of demons. Kellen shook her head. Please, not today, Grorp. The ethereal demon sulked, kicking at a rock, but his ghostly foot going straight through it.
Aw.
Hell is cold as penguin shit. Grorp needs some warmth in which to sit. Why don't you sit on this? One of the demons yelled as he held up a middle finger. Fuck you and your little homo ghost, you bitch.
Damn.
Kellen sighed before looking down at her companion and nodding. At the gesture, Grorp rushed to the red demons bearing razor-sharp teeth. He slithered along the ground as his prey protested, before the little one misted into them through their skin. Screams sounded as demon limbs were torn from bodies from the inside, torrents of blood and rock spraying from the mound. Kellen looked away, but in truth she had become numb to it after being here all this time. Grorp had said that time worked in an odd way here, that time passing simultaneously felt like an eternity and no time at all, as if being untethered from time was agony in and of itself. She understood.
Infinity versus eternity.
Exactly. Mobius Dick time.
Yeah. Mobius Dick, yeah.
Who knows how long it had been since she had seen Oryx or Hume or Ash. The confusion fogged her mind, like Elon Musk's mind seems to fog when someone asks him about how his family's secret illegal emerald mines have given him a distinct amount of white privilege and more than a leg up. A series of squelching, wet, sucking sounds came from behind her, louder and louder as they approached, and as she turned, she saw parts of the demon had been reassembled into a flesh mech that Grorp was piloting.
What the fuck?
The flesh puppet smirked, dead eyes and teeth not really conveying anything other than a sickening terror. It doesn't matter how much I see you do that possession stuff, Grop. I'd hate it, Kellen. Kellen picked up her bag and started to move her hands in the sulphury air until Grop put a blood-covered fingerless hand on her shoulder. To find your sister, we must cross into the lands where Beef Curtain is boss. Kellen looked down at Grop with a sneer. Beef Curtain? Who in the proverbial, here, is Beef Curtain? As if in response, a wide shard of light split the murky sky, emanating from a point 10 miles of fire and rock and misery away. In the shaft of light, a little nerdlinger demon of fire and flames appeared. Coming to you live from the castle of two dragons doing it raw style, the mistress... the mistress of malcontent, the leader of... loving to kill, the general of generally being too amazing, and the Duchess of Double D's. Ah! A hand came out of frame and pushed Spellgore aside. Get out of my way, you irksome little queef. I know you're out there, little Kellen, she hissed. If you wish to see your sister again, you'll come to me. The Queen smiled thinly as Florgo was led into the room by Spellgore, who held a chain that wrapped around the Major's neck. She knew what he wanted, access to one of the magical items she had confiscated from him after he first returned to her years ago, the ones he had forged for himself in this hell dimension. His black book covered by demon skin, which for some reason he called the Majornomicon. The amulet made from the skull of a demon dog that barked when people were lying. The staff he had fashioned from the hanging tree, or the other staff from a shard of cooled magma, or the other staff he had made from that staff he had found in a car park during one of the illegal dark mage street duels that have become all the rage these days. Look, the guy had a lot of staves. Oh, what? You think because the title of this episode is Banking and Staffs, I didn't know that the plural of staff was staves when referring to a weapon or a magical staff? Well...
There is a level of petty in Rich that it goes so far beyond.
It could be either or, Rich.
Well, you have to get up pretty early in the morning to get one over on me. I could have changed the title of the episode, but I wanted to give my fellow hosts the options of writing about staffs, like sets of employees, and I'm sure with their long histories of office work that they did the honourable thing. Not let me down, and did just that, didn't you, boys?
That would be my fourth office story. Like,
I thought so. Synergy.
Jesus.
So,
this coming from the man who wrote Lothario about 5 pages ago.
So, she's the one you escaped hell for. She's the one you went to help. When Florgo didn't answer, Spellgore yanked on his choke chain. Answer her bouncy breastedness, you boring worm. Beef Curtain leaned forward. No, Spellgore. We only want what's best for him. He can never leave now, so we need to retrain him, like the dog he is. Florgo gave her dagger eyes. I'll never serve you. I'm loyal to Kellen. Really? You don't fool me, little man. How many bags did you carry for some hope that she'll suck on your bag? Florgo sneered. It's not like that. It was never like that. Beef Curtain smirked, and Florgo wanted to murder her. I've heard of playing the long game, Florgo, but everyone else is playing chess, and you're playing Ice Ages. By the time she wants your dick, it won't be good for anything but pissing yourself in a care home. Florgo pulled against his chains again, only for them to bite into his neck. She'll see my value eventually. I'm good for her. Beef Curtain laughed. Oh, God. You believe you're better, don't you? You're a demon-born who got too friendly with one of our residents from the Vale once they found their way down here, and they told you about the glorious Kellen who started their colony, and then you went back in time to sliver your way into her life.
Wow.
You're not Kyle Reese, you deluded little moron. You're a certified creeper. You're the toxic man who thinks a woman owes him love simply because he was normal around her, aren't you? No, that's not... I'll bet you lied to her too. Perhaps you told her you were from the Vale yourself, hoping that if she fell in love with you... Sorry, when she fell in love with you... The lie wouldn't seem so bad when you were together. Florgo shook his head. She was twisting things. Of course she was. She was one of those sorts of women. I was. I was trying to protect her. Beef Curtain laughed. Did little Kellen ask for that? You said you sent her sister here. Did you think she'd welcome you back with open legs? No. That's not what he protested. Ugh, you bore me, Florgo. I already have plenty of would-be women savers in my Andrew Tate section of hell. Next to all the pussy grabbers and the overbearing protectors and the ones who follow women home to make sure they get home safely, hoping to make them feel less safe in the bedroom. But you're the worst of them all, though. The ones who don't even realise they're terrible. I mean, at least Andrew Tate had a podcast. At least he was producing something.
You know, I guess, yeah.
The only thing you're producing is grade A horseshit, and you, my boy, are huffing what you're shoveling. Why would she want you? Why would she even look twice? Because I deserve her love, he blurted out. Then realised what he had said. His hand shot to his mouth, and he sank to his knees. Beef Curtain came to stand by his kneeling wreck of a body, then placed her hand on the back of his head. And that's why you belong in hell, Beef Curtain smiled. Callan marched on past the multitude of DMVs on the banks of the lava river.
Yep.
The lines of skeletons who were once living beings before they got in the lines that never seemed to move. Grawp walked alongside her from his suit of demon parts. They were less than a few hours from Beef Curtain's castle, the orgasm face of the dragon skeleton staring her down.
Just picture the O face of a dragon. Oh.
Kellen sped up, desperate. She must have Asher with her. How else would she know my name? Your point may true, but please remember, Beef Curtain is queen of hell and ember. Her minions are the most reviled, like Rich Masters' only child.
Holy shit!
Oh no.
This kid is gonna have psychological problems.
Kellen squinted. Who the hell is Rich? A razor-sharp, rectangular shape embedded itself in the rocky path at Kellen's feet, and she pushed Grawp's fleshy mech into the cover of some outcropping of stone to one side of the path. Come out, girlie. We got you surrounded, a middle-aged man in a postal uniform shouted. Kellen poked her head from the rock, and another metal rectangle flew towards her, damn near slicing her nose off. Sharp pain brought her hand to her face, and she brought it away to see blood on her fingers. At once she darted to the metal object, pulling it from the rock and turning it over in her hand, almost slicing her finger open on the sharp edge. It was a miniature letter shuriken, with the words "Magic Bitch" printed where the address would normally be found. She ducked back quickly into cover as another two letters embedded themselves into the outcropping by her head. "Special delivery, girl," the postie yelled, and then a giant box smashed down near Kellen and Florgo. Florgo Grawp, whatever was inside, smashed into splinters, even though the box was marked "This way up." Leave some would-be corpses for the rest of us, Herr Posty Dracula, came a familiar voice. Oh, fuck no, said Kellen as she lifted her head above their cover. There were two men standing on an elevation 10 metres to their left. A large, muscular troll with a giant sword stood with his arms crossed, disinterested. But alongside him stood Hitlerbot, aiming a chain gun at them. "Oh ja, Fräulein, you may have turned me into a lemon and killed me with your band of cretins before, but this time I am not so easily destroyed!"
He's still a robot in hell?
Yep. He fired a volley of fire from the chain gun, which reduced the rock to rubble. As Hitlerbot came to inspect the rubble with a foot, he found nothing but metal letters and broken rock.
Darth Vader.
Scheiße, he whispered. A rift opened above Posty Dracula, and a giant mess of limbs descended upon him, pummeling him to the floor. I've always wanted to wipe that stupid smile off your face, delivery man, Grawp said as he punched the postie across the mouth, splitting his lip. The postie rolled away and flashed another 2 metal letters towards Grawp, slicing through his flesh puppet and severing parts off of him. Grawp looked down to find the fingers entirely missing from his other hand and looked up at his adversary in shock. Let's trim the fat a little. Postie Dracula smiled, licking his lips where he was bleeding. His collar popped like a Dracula. And that is the only vampire reference you will get about this character.
That is a new best sentence in the history of this podcast.
Agreed.
Grawp marched on with arms outstretched as waves of metal letters tore chunks from him. One arm was suddenly lost, then a foot, then part of Grawp's meat puppet head. In shock, Grawp roared and lunged at the demon, and in response a metal letter split Grawp right between the shining eyes. Grawp! Kellen yelled, and Hitlerbot turned as Kellen cracked him across the arm with Doomcock. He fired wildly, but she'd already rifted away, only for another portal to open directly behind him. She rolled out, taking a swipe at his knee and sending him to his ankle and sending him to his knees, then dived towards another portal. He aimed at the floor and fired too late, creating a crater that followed her into the portal. Verdammt little rat! How dare you treat me with such disdain! I am your better. I love children and animals, and I'm a vegetarian. I paint and got the trains running on time, he screamed. Portal after portal opened and closed, hammer hits raining down on the Ferrous Führer until Hitlerbot got lucky and grabbed her midriff. Her midriff, not midriff. I realise that's probably not a good term to use, right? Between rifts.
One has a hyphen.
Yeah. You are mine, little pest. I am going to grind you into ash and then mix you into my bland porridge because Hitlerbot does not like anything that makes his porridge less white. Kellen struggled for air, then noticed Doomcock on the floor under her. She waved her hand and Doomcock vanished before it came slamming down on his back from above, severing his hydraulics and slumping him forward to the ground. He spluttered, his face flat against the rocky terrain. I have oiled my mustache and I'm getting small pieces of rock in it. This is intolerable. I demand to be helped up. I am part of history. Kellen stood over him, casting a dark shadow. Time to rejoin it, you skid mark. She lifted the hammer like a golf club and swung away, taking his head clean off and sending it into the lava river. The droid body powered down and fizzled out, and Richmaster's promised this was the last time Hitlerbot was going to appear in an episode.
For one.
Richmaster's directly lied to the audience.
Lord Uruk, the trans-dimensional troll, came sauntering up to Kellen with thick, heavy footsteps, and then took one look at the carnage around him. Then he said, Look, man, I'm not interested in beef with you, one iota. I'm just going to scram, okay? Bye! He ran off at pace. And Kellen watched him go, thankful she didn't have to fight a baby-eating troll. A blast of energy took Kellen off her feet, and when she found the energy to turn around through the black spots in her vision, she saw a supremely attractive woman, who for some reason had a scorpion tail, walking towards her in Doc Martens and leather. She dragged a chain behind her that was shackled to a reedy, thin, hooded prisoner. So, you're the perky little bitch who thinks she's such hot shit, the woman purred seductively. You don't look like much to me. Plain Jane with delusions of grandeur. I don't see what he sees in you, to be honest. But then, lots of men like inferior women they can boss around, don't they? Anyhow, I kill people that challenge my authority, regardless of how inferior they are to the glory of Beef Curtain. Kellen coughed and tasted blood, the blast having cracked a few ribs. I don't want anything but my sister. If I have her, I'll go, you have my word. Beef Curtain laughed again. Sister? What sister? I'm afraid if some little girl had arrived, I'd have fed her to the dogs already. It was all a ploy to draw you out, you silly bitch. Kellen swallowed. So obvious, so stupid. She'd fallen for it so easily. Without Ash to point out to her to be cautious, she had let her emotions walk her into something dangerous again. But in the pile of things that bothered her, one thing stuck out more than any other. Wait, how did you know about my sister in the first place then? Rows of jagged teeth flashed in Beef Curtain's wide smile. When people rudely come here by a magical portal, I get pretty tetchy. The only holes that should open here are the ones I poke in people. So, I messed around with your little rifts. I swapped your order of arrival. The first one to enter the portal hasn't even arrived yet, and the last one gave me a little bit of info on you so you'd save his skin. She gestured and flicked the chain with her tail so Florgo crashed to the floor in front of Kellen. Yes, boy, I knew your stupid little plan to save yourself. Tell me again how selfless and wonderful you are. Kellen reached forward and pulled his hood back to see the scarred and broken face underneath. He smiled at her. I'm so sorry, he muttered. Kellen pulled him close as he sobbed into her skins, pitying him and his abuse in the years he had been here. Beef Curtain yanked at Florgo's choke chain and he flew backwards. Oh, stop it. The misery is getting me all wet. She turned. She turned as Posty Dracula arrived next to her, a forearm of Grawp's mech demon in his own, in his hand, a sharp, jagged point of bone sticking out of one end. It's done, he muttered, his eyes closed in satisfaction. Fucking took your sweet time, didn't you? She tutted. Still, at least one of you was able to get the job done. Now do me a favour and take out the trash, would you? She said, gesturing nonchalantly with a wave to Kellen. Yes, betrothed. Posty Dracula opened his glowing eyes and slashed the forearm of bone along her neck. Blood sprayed from the slit along her jugular, and she collapsed to the dusty floor. Grawp? Kellen wheezed, as Grawp walked the Posty's body into the lava river before ghosting out of it. Kellen crawled to Florgo and rifted part of the metal collar away so she could remove it from around his neck. Once she had gotten to his feet, she looked at his burned, scarred face. She looked his burned, scarred face over. Don't take this the wrong way, buddy, but you kind of look like a 3D bird's eye map of a scrotum.
How could he take that the wrong way?
Nice to see you too, he muttered. Suppose there's not much chance for us now, huh? Kellen shook her head. No. Too much as... I just don't. He held a hand up. Don't finish that. I'm glad you're safe. Ow! Beef Curtain spluttered from the floor, holding her neck, blood pouring between her fingers. How did you get a demon of hell to follow you? Florgo wafted a hand and Grawp ghosted back into him, back home where the part of his soul he had cleaved off to help his friend belonged.
What?
Save me and I'll give you what you want, Beef Curtain gasped. I can bring
save her!
I can bring your sister here now. You'll do it, or I'll rift your head from your body, Asher said coldly. Beef Curtain opened a rift in the sky above them, the young Asher dropping directly into Kellen's waiting arms. She looked at Kellen in shock. Later, Kellen whispered to her sister. She turned and walked away, urging Florgo to come with her. Leave her, Florgo. She doesn't deserve our mercy. Beef Curtain howled in anger and brought her hands together, mustering every ounce of power she had left, and a little pent-up sexual frustration in the mix as well, aiming it directly for the three of them. A bolt of pure red energy sped towards them, only for Florgo to absorb all of it. The bolt took him, a rift opening inside him, and as Kellen tried to close the portal, the part of his soul he called Grawp was almost pulled directly from him. Closing her hands, Kellen pushed the rift closed, watching Florgo fall to the floor in a heap of curled up limbs. Kellen aimed a rift in Beef Curtain's direction, but the Queen of Hell was near death, her emaciated husk nothing more than skin wrapped around bone. She rushed to Florgo, pulling him up. His form was warped and bent, his features twisted and broken. Grawp, he whispered. Grawp. His eyes rolled back, and the breath left his lungs. Florgo, Kellen called, fighting back tears as she shook him. Florgo! His dead eyes looked out at her, and she looked away, unable to meet them. She lay his body down at her feet, scooped Asher up, and pointed to the floor. Electricity crackled underfoot, and a rift tore open. Beef Curtain laughed behind her, a husky gurgle that sounded painful. Kellen, who was that? The young Asher asked. A friend, Kellen said, looking back as she walked through the portal. The pitter-patter of dog paws skittered along the rocky terrain. Oh boy, you sure did mess this up, kid, Malcolm said. Help me, Beef Curtain hissed. But he trotted past her on his scaly hind legs, his giant lizard tail wafting at her reaching hand. Oh, hush up, you lost kid. Have the good graces to... Oh, you lost kid. Have the good graces to know when you're chopped liver. Malcolm bared his teeth and sniffed Florgo's corpse. But this one I can work with. As he whispered to Florgo, a thin thread of blue left his tongue and wiggled its way inside Florgo's ear canal. Florgo gasped in air, his chest cavity expanding. He scrabbled to his hands and feet, vomiting black liquid all over the floor. My boy, I have a little job for you. I want you to destroy time itself, Malcolm smiled.
Oh, no!
Again?
Florgo stood, his back hunched, his jaw twisted. I'll do as asked with one request. I'll crush Kellen's heart inside her chest. The ward helped Graup back to his feet as he stared at himself in the pot. He stood straighter, taller. Ward looked at him. Are you okay, Wrath? A sickening, sucking squelch made Ward look down, and he saw the rolling pin sticking from his stomach. It had been punched clean through him. Never better, Graup said as the pillar slipped off the rolling pin and dropped to the floor. And call me Florgo. The end.
What the fuck?
Florgo's a bad dude, man.
So he's like the new Technomancer?
He's like he's the ultimate
old
bad guy.
Yeah, a horrible white dude.
Makes sense.
What? What happened to Meat Curtains? What happened to her boobs and butt?
I don't know. She poured all that energy into that last blast.
They were disintegrated along with the rest of her.
That's the worst part. This is the
That's the horrifying story.
Yeah.
I bet all those people who voted on who was the shittiest, saddest, most pathetic character in our Discord are sad that Florgo didn't win now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he deserves to win.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
There was still a part of him that was redeemable, a little part, but I wanted to kill that off.
Man, you really fucking took him oh man, you took him down several pegs.
Took him down to Chinatown.
Beef Curtain dismantled him in about 2 seconds.
That's
why
I love her. I like that.
She's very similar to another character.
Oh yeah,
Josh
yeah.
loves.
She is supposed to be. It's my it's this reality's kind. I was thinking of this reality's kind of axe wound element. So yeah.
Well, my days here are numbered.
No.
That is clear.
And fucking the ghost of Grorp was just doing some fucking dip shit the whole time.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So we're both replaceable here, is what I'm saying.
I mean, there's only so many characters you can write. Get enough monkeys with typewriters, right? Get enough monkeys with MacBooks.
Or, use a real computer.
Yeah, true. Even monkeys wouldn't use a Mac.
What is this? And he starts typing on his own shit. This is better.
It's funny to me that a character who was almost foisted upon you by our fans has suddenly become the big bad of your story.
Yeah, I know.
That makes a lot of sense.
And I'm going to say that Curicle guessed this a long time ago that Florgo was Grop. I don't know how he did it, but I'm giving him full props for that because
That's amazing.
He has maintained that he thought Florgo was Grop. And I thought I'd done pretty well to cover that.
I thought so too.
You're pretty good at that. You're really good at that.
Yeah, Squid Ludwig does that too, where he guesses like what's gonna happen, but it's better than what I was going to write. I have to not be like, I'll just use yours. I have to use the one I already had. No, that was sick as
Amazing.
fuck, man.
Oh, good. It didn't feel too long, did it? Oh my god, we've been recording the segment for 50 minutes.
Let's not look at the time.
Okay. Yeah, we'll
This is
shatter
why
the
Florka wants to
illusion.
destroy time, so Rich can write a fucking novel every time.
I get how Rich feels, because I'll get to a point where, like, I'm like, I should end this story. It's like 10 pages or whatever, but I have more I need to tell this episode.
Yeah. I did my usual thing of thinking when I was writing it that I hadn't put any jokes in it, so I'm glad I had, because I forgot about the jokes. Because I've been writing this for a month, right? Because
Yeah, it's been a while, right?
Yeah.
And I think everyone can tell. I think these are really good. These are really great stories.
it just goes to show if we had more time, I think we could probably...
There was time.
Oh, man. All right, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Hello, welcome back for part 3. I nearly fucked up our whole recording, but we're
That would have
gonna
been super fun.
we're gonna completely gloss over that part, and then we're gonna get right back to stories.
3 buttholes clenched.
Jesus. Yeah. Don't buy a Mac, anyone. Just saying.
Yeah, not enough Mucinex in the world to get our buttholes unclenched from that. Mucinex? What is it?
Mucinex.
What's the one with the fiber?
I don't know.
Oh, Metamucil.
Metamucil. Thank
Dildo
you.
Max. That'll loosen your
That's-
butthole.
That's what you use.
Look, whatever works, okay? And
You
that
know what?
works.
I hear that.
Isn't that Gen Z slang, dildo maxing?
I don't know, probably. Gooning and dildo maxing.
Gooning. God. Like we
Oh.
needed another word for that.
Let's not set Josh off because he's about to tell his story and he's in a bad
About to-
mood.
Yeah.
Josh is about to get angry at the youth on our podcast.
Grumpy. I'm fucking grumpy today. Couldn't have sleep or something. I don't have enough Mucinex in my fiber.
Didn't you tell us you got 20 hours sleep? In like
Yeah,
2
I
days?
can't. Like, I think I'm like sick or something.
Yeah,
Because
it
like I
sounds
can't
like
You do
like.
sound a little sick.
Cool.
I just thought you'd like to be self-conscious.
Yeah.
So, let's hear little sickly boy tell his story.
Okay, my story this week is called the Obake Pukaki Sale. I don't know. I just came up with that.
Excellent. No notes.
No notes. As the dust settled from the short but intense battle, Sid counted his fingers and toes. Yep, still 6 each. Chickpea spun around defensively. Chickpea spun around defensively, doing a cool karate stance ready for another attack. Fred groaned and held his head as he sat up from where he had been knocked the fuck out like Debo from Friday. The only sound now was in the old abandoned castle was the faint hiss of the dust settling and the groans of Fred's bruised ego. I got knocked the fuck out by that brick shithouse of a centaured woody-ass having dwarf, Fred said, spitting some blood and teeth onto the ground. Gunk. What an absolute idiot, Sid said, throwing an old used potion bottle to the ground. All around him, he could see evidence of dark magic, regular magic, blood, sugar, sex magic, the seminal Red Hot Chili Peppers album, Magic the Gathering, Magic Johnson's memoir entitled My Only Regret Is That I Had Bonitis. It's a different Magic Johnson. It is not our Magic Johnson.
Okay.
A mysteriously sticky tome entitled Slut Magic, a guide to better glide for yo slip and slide.
And where would one procure this book?
Chickpea held up the book with 2 fingers like it were cursed or smelly or both. I don't even, know what this type of magic is, and I've been on some pretty shady AOL chat rooms. She tossed the book away just as it grew wings and flew away. Thank you, kind wizard, for freeing me. But just as the tome was finished its gratitude, another larger book swooped down and grabbed it in its claws and flew away. Peppercorn emerged from outside of the castle and was quickly taking readings with his all-see PKE meter. The magical residue in this place is off the charts, he exclaimed as the dial of the PKE meter spiked and boinged out of the device with a cartoonish sproing sound and the sound of a jalopy sputtering to a stall.
Excellent.
What the hell was she doing here? Fred asked stupidly. Probably trying to unlock the secrets of the quantum all-see, whatever the hell it's called, Chickpea replied. That certainly would require a lot of magic, Peppercorn said, taking more readings. To put it into perspective, think of the castle here as a, let's say, porn set. And think of all the magical residue in here as bodily sexual fluids. By my calculations, we're talking about a magical disturbance equal to or above 18 bukkake units, or simply cockies for short. We have to warn Ugla and the others in the future, Sid said, while gathering any and all useful potions. Fred grabbed a healing potion and slammed it down. The magical elixir instantly regrew his missing teeth. We should be able to follow Princess Crackspoon's magical signature, Peppercorn said, pulling out another device. Think of her magical signal as if it were her magical snail trail, as it were. And her moving through space and time is like her rubbing, all right, Chickpea said, putting a hand over his mouth. Yeah, we got it, Fred said, laughing. Chick and I can work on, who is talking? Chick and I can work on leaving a suitable marker for the future people to follow. Until then, I suggest we stock up on potions and grenades and get that book of slut magic down from that other book in the ceiling, Peppercorn said with a disgusting, deviant determination. I'm gonna need something of Ugla's or something from someone's in the future. I'm gonna need something of Ugla's or something from someone else from the party in the future, Chickpea said directly to Fred. Why would I have something of hers, Chick? Sid asked, squinting his eyes. I don't know, like a hair or a toenail or maybe like something gross you kept and are ashamed of, Chickpea said with a wink. Yes, I carry around a hair doll of my girlfriend in case I get lonely during heists and need to smell her coconut-scented shampoo to give me more big boy bravery, and then at night I replace it under her pillow so it'd smell like her always and forever, Sid said specifically and sarcastically. I mean, that would work. I feel like since that was very specific, maybe you did do that at one point and or still do, Chickpea? I don't, Chick. I haven't seen her in ages and I'm getting really tired of this whole time travel, different timelines, communicating through art like I'm some kind of liberal arts major whose dad didn't hug him enough.
Wait, now.
Sid sat down frustrated. He felt more alone now than he had in a while. Even leading the flamingos was no longer enough to keep his mind off of his beloved, bearded, badass bitch. Wait, Fred shouted. It could be anyone from the future party, right? Yeah, Chick answered. Fred rummaged quickly through his pack and found an old, ratty, torn tunic that he used to use on his adventures in the desert lands. This was Buff Cat's favorite hump blanket. I mean, sleepy time blanket. He corrected himself with a cough. We can't know if Ugla is with Buff Cat, Sid said dejectedly. I heard him in the background of all the... in the background of that communication, I heard a cat man say, mew, mew, mew. It had to be him. I mean, it's worth a shot, I guess, Chick said as she tweezed off a few orange cat hairs from the hump blanket. I mean, sleeping blanket. 2 hours later. Okay, we've left the marker, Peppercorn said out of breath. It should compensate for the ravages of time and junk and make sure that only those from the future party will see it and stuff, Chick said.
I love Chick.
Sid and Fred looked up at the gigantic marker that now towered above them on one of the exterior walls of the ancient castle. Before them stood a screeching flamingo in the style of those only found on late 1970s Pontiac Trans Ams. On its crotchal region was an erect donger in the shape of an arrow with a tattoo on it that said, "This way," with a winky face emoji. Above the donger, the flamingo's pubes were trimmed into a cool S.
This fucking rules. This is a t-shirt, is what this is.
I think this should be our permanent logo, Chickpea said. Why did you give the bird a cool S landing strip, though? Fred asked nervously. Doesn't everyone shave theirs into a cool S? Peppercorn said, looking down at his own trousers at his own work of art. I love you, Peppercorn. You're like rapidly becoming a caricature of yourself. You know that, right? Chickpea said.
Getting flanderized.
Well, looking at an all-see-ball page of patreon.com/storylords as the pledges began to fall into the negative numbers faster than Building 7 was demolished after 9/11. Do your own research. Tell me exactly what the fuck I'm looking at, Squib said, crooking his head from one side to another. Before them stood a giant castle wall which had been devastated by 1,000 years of dust storms, sieges, and graffiti. Apparently, the people of Daranos had taken Peppercorn's first attempt at art to heart and began a 1,000-year tradition of adding their own dongers to the castle wall. It was now covered in dicks. Some Daranosian historians even began to call Peppercorn Wanksy and dub him one of Daranos' greatest artists of all time. Mew, 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 Buff Cat said. It sure is, buddy, Debbie said, letting out a long whistle. Ugla moved over to the wall and began to feel around for anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, really get up in there, Squib laughed. I think you missed the spot over by the big black one, Demi chided. Mew, 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 Buff Cat laughed. Ugla shot back a look over her shoulder, and everyone stopped laughing until she turned around again, and then they each began to giggle. There's the spot, Ugla said without a hint of irony. Suddenly, a magical figure began to form. A figure that stood only about 3 feet tall and was chewing some kind of bubble candy. Like, answer these riddles 3 or whatever, said the magical figure. Ooh, a tulpa, Demi said, reading out of one of Ugla's magic books. More like a pre-recorded magical voicemail, Ugla corrected. Speak for yourself, you big bitch. I'm very much sentient and my own woman, the chickpea tulpa replied with a sassy snap. I was kidding about the riddles, though. You should just go west. Keep on a straight line toward the triple stars up there, unless it's daytime now, in which case, just wait until night and then do that. All at once, the flamingo firebird began to burn its way to the forefront of the other phallic art, much like your mother's herpes burned all the way to the forefront of my phallic piece of art. And, much like her scorching viral vag graffiti, the flamingo burned brightly and hot, erasing all other marks on the wall. There it stood in all its glory, with the arrow-shaped dingus pointing the way for the adventurers to continue. My brother needed an outlet for his art, Chick Tulpa said. It's our new logo! Peppercorn could be heard saying in the background. Wait, so are you real or is this a recording? Ugla asked, very confused. I don't know, does it even matter? Who cares? Just do a cut here and get on with the story, Chick Tulpa said and then disappeared. Or didn't, I don't know, or care. Cut 2. Many hours and many steps later, Ugla and the gang found themselves in a deep wooded area. The trees themselves were long dead. They were burned or died of some sort of tree disease. Night was closing in, and all around were the sounds of scary nighttime animals. A skeletal merc monk was putting his skeletal son to bed early so that he could fillet his skeletal merc monk wife. But in the distance, Buffcat could see the dull glow of a candle or a torch burning. Mew! Mew, 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 he said, pointing. Could be people, or someone who knows something about where we might need to go, Demi said with a hopeful tone. We should go look for sure, Ugla said, picking up her pack. Should we leave breadcrumbs for the future group to follow so they know whether we went this way, Squib asked. Dude, what? Demi said with a laugh. We are the future group. Have you not been paying attention? Not really, Squib said, picking up a stick and pretending it was a sword. After a short walk, the group reached a perfectly pristine cottage in the middle of the desolate, burnout woods. I mean, Smokey the Bear wouldn't take a shit in this dump. But there, in the middle of all this destruction and barrenness, stood a fucking perfectly painted and maintained tiny cottage looking Polly Pocket as fuck.
Nice.
This is weird as heck, Demi said, running a hand over the blooming roses and daisies growing out of the box by a window. She cupped her hand and took it in. Demi, don't, Ugla scolded. She cupped her hand and looked into a window. Demi, don't, Ugla scolded. Demi gasped. Oh my golden underthings, she shouted. As she turned around with her mouth open with a smile. Guys, she said. Just then, a tiny little gnome burst out of the front door. Greetings, humans, and whatever these other things are, he said with a smile. He then did the Macarena for no reason and spun around on one foot, holding his hands out like jazz hands waiting for applause. Demi and Squib obliged as they softly golf clapped. Welcome to and enjoy. Welcome. Come in and enjoy, for you have just discovered Quiznos Bakery and Fine Meats. Again, the gnome did the electric slide and the jazz hands thing again. Wait, Quiznos? Ugla said. Are you gonna get sued for that? Pretty sure they went out of business a long time ago, even though they had that funny all-sea ball commercial. We got the breads, or whatever it was. Quizno said with a laugh.
Blast from the past.
Now come in and eat. You all look famished. I am 100% into this and have no further suspicions whatsoever, Squib said, throwing his stick to the side and walking into the cottage. Inside, the cottage was larger on the inside than it was on the outside. Just like your mother, because after I bored out her pleasure mine last night, I'm pretty sure you could fit all of NORAD in there, or at least some hidden stolen art, right, Rich? Or should I say, right, Richler?
Yeah.
Yeah. On the table were muffins, cakes, succulent meats, cream puffs, cream pies like the one I gave your whore mother last night, and many, many more delicious-looking foods. This is spirited away as fuck, Demi said, picking up a small cookie. That's biscuit to you, Rich, and
thanks.
Gently biting into it.
Wait a minute, but was the biscuit a cookie? Like a chocolate chip one?
Well,
Yeah.
wait a second.
but
Why
what?
why is she eating a dessert biscuit? Those are for gravy.
Oh my god. I knew this was going to be the end of the show. That's why I wrote. Okay.
Sigh.
Her eyes lit up as the flavor of vanilla and almond hit her tongue. Flavors she had never before tasted and couldn't imagine in those short years she had been alive. Good, isn't it? Little human sidekick, Quizno said, rubbing his hands together. This is amazing, she said, grabbing a handful and stuffing them into her pockets like she was at a Duke and Duke Christmas party.
Oh, nice.
How about you, tall human? What is your name again? Quiznos asked. Ugla the wizard, she said slowly, grabbing a piece of manna bread and sniffing it. Yes, I remember you now, Quiznos said with a smirk. Oh my god, this trip is so boring, Chickpea said. As she slouched down onto a tree stump. All around her were verdant green trees. The life of the forest was filling her tiny ear holes with a cacophony of chirps and squeaks and chitters. May as well rest here for the night, Sid said, throwing down his own pack. We can find shelter in this cave if it begins to rain, Fred said, shining his torch into a small, wet cave that resembles your mother's crotch cave after I filled it with old paintings and jizz last night.
When you said you cream pied, I was going to say, my art. My art! And then I thought, no, just in case he does that joke.
Art.
Don't, just in case
My
he makes
stolen
that joke.
art!
I'm not going to do it.
Dude, feel free. You feel free to add whatever you need.
No. I'm glad I left it alone so you could do it.
Suddenly, a small but audible little girl laugh echoed through the cave. Nope, Fred said as he stepped away and cracked his knuckles ready for a fight. The sound of the girl was now louder. Sid sighed. Fine, he said, standing up and grabbing socks. Peppercorn, you stay out here with Freddo and watch our stuff. If we're not back in 10 minutes, come rescue us. Chickpea grabbed her staff and blew out a long, loud, crackling bubble. Let's fuck this cave with our dicks, she said like a badass. The cave dripped moisture from its various stalactites and mites as Chickpea and Sid crept through the ever more narrowing tunnels. Even Chickpea had to duck occasionally to get into the next cavern. Finally, they reached a cottage? What in the Alice in Wonderland fuck is this shit, Sid said. The cottage looked warped, like it couldn't maintain its shape. Soon the outer wall fell away to reveal a room full of weirdly shaped foods. Warped wraps and misshapen muffins, distorted donuts and squiggly sweets. Welcome to the bakery, said a disfigured thing from the cottage. There, in front of them, stood a misshapen horror. It stretched itself and undulated back into itself like I undulated back into your mother last night, as we already went over several times.
Yeah, we've touched on this.
Its face kept changing and it could barely speak. It's an obaki, Chick said, readying her staff. Welcome to my bakery, the shapeshifter said, laughing maniacally. This thing needs to die now, Sid said, rubbing his nose. Without warning, the obaki lunged its neck toward forward and transformed its head into a wolf head. It snapped at Sid, but he was agile as fuck. He dodged just as Chickpea shouted magical power words and imbued her staff with flames. She struck down on the wolf's snoot as it whined and hissed backwards. Sid rolled and unsheathed socks, who glowed with blue power. The obaki again lurched forward and transformed one of its many tentacle-like arms into a giant fly swatter and swatted down directly onto Chickpea. She raised the shield just in time, but the impact still took a lot out of her. Little fly creature, you die now, the obaki wheezed. Sid was already on top of it, though, and swung socks downward, cutting off the tentacled fly swatter. The appendage slithered and writhed on the ground, now free of its amorphous master. The obaki just laughed, and then, with a final, more concerted effort, formed itself into a huge black mass and began to cover every square inch of the cavern. Chickpea grabbed Sid and pulled him close as he shielded As Chickpea grabbed Sid and pulled him close as the shield spell buckled and cracked under the pressure of this BBC, Big Black Cloud.
Yep.
Finally, Finally, the shield ruptured and Sid and Chick groaned in pain. Sid held Socks tightly in his grip as the mass engulfed him. Finally, though, he let go of Socks as Socks, too, now was being crushed in the weight of the BBC. Meow! Socks screamed as his magic was now being siphoned into the void, along with Sid and Chickpea. Help me, were Sid's last words. Hiss! Suddenly, Sandals zooped out of staff form and began to hiss at Quiznos fiercely. Good kitty cat, Quiznos said as his voice cracked. Sandals lunged at Quizno, slicing his face open with her sharp kitty claws. Insolent rodent, Quizno said, changing shape for a moment before reforming back into Quizno. What the hell was that shit? Demi said through a mouthful of cookies. Hold on. What the hell was that shit? Demi said through a mouthful of cookies. Bluffcat wolverined out his claws and was now growling menacingly at Quizno. It was too late, though. Quizno was already forming and reforming himself into any and all terrifying objects and monsters. An Obaki, Ugla said, doing a karate pose ready to strike. Your friends, delicious they were, Quizno said as he belched up 4 skeletons, 2 gnomes, a big human, and a troll. Sid, no! Ugla almost screamed in terror and grief. Next to them lay a skeleton of a small cat, Socks. Sandals saw this and immediately went batshit insane. She hissed and began to glow powerful blue. The room shook. She began to siphon energy from the Obaki itself. With every burst of energy she grew. She grew until she was the size of a dire wolf. Her hair glowed blue with power, and she growled deeply and gutturally. Mew, 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 Buffcat said with a smile. She lashed her claws at Obaki. With each strike, she drew more power from the monster. She finally let out a primordial screech that caused Squib's ears to bleed green blood. He covered them and fell to the floor in a fetal position. Sock's lifeless body lay on its side. His little green eyes were shut forever. Suddenly, a blue glow surrounded him, and his eyes shot wide open. Meow! He screamed as life surged back into his body. A single white streak of fur burned its way across his tiny, cute forehead in the shape of 3 claw marks. Soon he, too, was growing into the size of the direwolf. The young Obaki couldn't do anything but watch as Socks slashed his way free of the black mass, digesting him and his friends. Sid gasped back to life as Socks uncovered his face with a deadly flash of claws. Chickpea coughed up some black blork and used her staff to steady herself. Whoa, she said as Socks dismembered the Obaki. Sandals, too, was slashing and hacking the Obaki up. It was now weaker and weaker, and parts of it began to disappear, like my virginity after junior prom when I won best hair.
Yeah.
With a final slash, Socks destroyed the Obaki, and just as quickly as his transformation into a giant paddle cat-esque death machine had happened, he was now just a tiny little black cute cat licking his paw clean of viscera and slime like nothing out of the ordinary had just happened. The only difference now was the white fur slash marks across his face. Socks, that was the most metal-ass fucking shit I have ever seen. And I saw wife bones at the public library protesting the banning of trans books while slowly burning Nazis and cops to death with guitar solo powers.
Holy shit.
Sid said, picking up his cat and hugging him. Sid rubbed his hand over Sock's white marks and looked at Chickpea inquisitively. Beats me, dude, she said, shaking her head. Socks just licked Sid's hand. The Obaki in the future writhed and withered until it disappeared along with the food and the skeletons of Sid, Fred, and the 2 gnomes. What the fuck was that? Ugla said to Sandals, who was now, again, just a regular cat, but much like Socks, now had 3 black claw marks on her face. Ugla picked her up and hugged her. You get all of Squib's treats and later. Yes, you do, sweet baby girl. Yes, you do, baby, sweet girl, Ugla said, kissing her cat. Hey, Squib said, salting. So, if we killed the Obaki here in the future, how did it die in the past? Demi said, thinking with her fingers. Mew, 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 mew. Meow, 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 meow. Buff Cat explained perfectly. Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Thanks, PC, Demi said, hugging him.
Genius. Genius.
We're not getting that one. We're not going to understand what you're saying that time.
You gotta replay it and listen carefully to it.
I think I'm fluent in Buff Cat, and then I realize I have so much to learn.
Yeah. You're not the master yet until you take the cricket from its claw. Right?
Yeah.
That was awesome. I
That was
fucking
great,
loved
dude.
the parallel battle against the Obaki. That was sick.
Yeah.
I really
I
like
think it
kind
was
of
Quiznos.
I really like this setup of them in the past and the future. Past and one of them has to be in the present, I guess.
Does it?
Well, I suppose it doesn't. Past and the future. You did say the words past and future, so yeah. But I like.
Well,
this setup.
everybody's
I like this.
present is someone's past or future.
Tomorrow is yesterday's past. Wait. Yesterday is tomorrow's future? I don't know.
I wish I hadn't started this sentence.
Children are the future.
I believe the children are the future.
Can I have a present of just stopping this conversation? That would be a lovely present.
Well, and don't be rich to them.
You don't understand that it before happened already. So
Yeah.
what was supposed to happen before was already happened, so it was too late.
Exactly.
Oh,
I
God.
get it.
This is worse than cucumber talk. It was great. Well done.
Thanks.
It's good.
Absolutely
3 excellent
fucking
stories
banger.
that have been
Yeah,
certainly not written today.
Which is if you're listening, it's your past.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes.
That's true.
You guys are in our future right now.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep.
Think about it.
With that, we're going to close the cover on today's stories. Let's move over to prompts. So can we bring out the All-See Prompts blog?
It needs to be started up. Let me polish it.
Crank it up.
Wait, a little more. I'm almost done. I'm almost there.
It's almost there.
Yeah.
Ah, there it is.
Now,
Okay.
please get the ball out.
He got me.
The first one is... Dicks by Thomas Martin. And he's put
Dicks?
private eyes or otherwise.
Oh, this is like trying to get a specific type of story out of me. I see.
And the next one is Dominatrices by Jonathan. Oh, sorry, that one was by Thomas Martin, and Dominatrices is by Jonathan Anderson. I wonder what the artwork is going to look like for that one. Dicks
Well,
and
this is gonna be a
Dominatrices.
good one.
I mean, it still has to go on iTunes.
Yeah. Oh, be careful. Don't worry.
Look, if you can't describe a dick going into a dominatrix, I don't even want to be on iTunes. You know?
I know.
If you heard those prompts and you thought, Jesus Christ, that artwork is going to be racy, woohoo, then you can head over to Patreon and suggest your own. You can become a patron and suggest your own racy prompts for as little as $5 a month. And you can do that by heading over to patreon.com/storylords. For $5, you get access to the Discord, you get the ability to suggest prompts, you get the stories that are loaded up. They're all there now, aren't they?
Yeah, every story up to date.
Every single
is there
story
now.
is up to date. For $10, you get Redesigned by Committee. You also get Afterlords, which is the one we sometimes record. We try and do it every other episode. We probably won't do it this episode because you had an Afterlords.
You had like a 3-hour long one.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
3-hour
exactly.
long Afterlords. Where I revealed just how poncy I am about wine. And then
This motherfucker only drinks wine out of a horn from the first bull that King Charles killed.
It's the Gjallarhorn, the one that starts Ragnarok. That's what it is.
That's right.
I only drink that from that. And for $25, you get access to all of the above, and you get creator credit in the book when that eventually comes out. Moving swiftly on.
Let's not talk about that too much.
I've done some research. I don't think it will be as difficult
on
as
9/11.
First, no.
I did my own research.
I don't think it will be as difficult as we first thought. We just have to decide on what some of the extra things we would like to put in the book are. Anyway, I'm going to give
my phone number.
The shout out to the top tier patrons. So thank you all. You've all been patrons for a really long time. That's not saying that we devalue any of the other patrons. I just want to make that very clear. But as part of the $20 pledge, it's $20, not $25. I am now giving a shout out to all the patrons. So Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, Stephen, Squid Ludwig, Sean Tabor, Sarah Kemp, Pez King, Heath Robinson, Federico Rodriguez, Anthony Stoker, and the king of patrons at the moment, Henry Roselar, who is...
Henry Roselar, you are the king!
Who is
a patron at the Little Dwarf Kid from Rich's Story Fund pledge tier.
Yeah.
So all that money
will go to...
is going straight to Timmy Blackcrest.
Yep.
Definitely not going to steal it.
Although, since he is Technomancer and he is technically dead, he did... I have it on good authority that he bequeathed all his ill-gotten gains to the three of us. So...
Hey, we queefed his gains at you? Ew.
Anywho...
Hey, we have a new review.
Do we have a review? Oh my god! Well, let's hear that.
From, I don't know if I've read this one before, and I hope I haven't, but it is from Fartbutt 9000.
No.
Yeah, I'd remember that.
Yeah.
It'll make you 3. So I used to listen to some other podcast like maybe 9 years ago, and the guy who got fired from it is here now. I tried to find that other guy's podcast, but none of them were online anymore, so I guess I'm stuck with this one. Oh well.
Hey, I'm glad we're your silver medal. Fartbutt 9000.
This show is incredible and an inspiration. I binged all of fantasy fiction again a while back and was left with a bad case of epidemal hypertension. But now that I've found Bros Before, Story Lords, I'm finally cured. Also, I just finished binging the whole thing and I'm caught up now. I guess I don't have any choice but to join their Patreon at patreon.com/storylords and hope nobody gets fired. 5 stars.
No one will get fired.
The chances of that happening as the money goes up, it's like a sine wave.
Yeah, we need to get a few
parabola.
We need to get a few more Henry Roselars before that happens.
Yeah,
it's true, Rich. The number's starting to get to a point where you and I need to have a conversation alone. I think.
Okay, all right. He really doesn't do a lot apart from all those things he does. So
and apart from editing the fucking podcast, and writing the stories everyone's tuning in for, we'll be fine. We haven't seen a direct history of this blowing up in anyone's face before.
No. I mean, we can definitely do it on our own.
I'm gonna edit all of what Rich just said and just put fart sounds and then just have Jeff just responding to the fart sounds.
Like my hero, Fartbutt 9000.
What a great fucking name.
Oh my god.
I'd like to know who that was, who that actually was.
I feel like we would know who they were. I feel like it sounds familiar. Sounds like I could like hear someone's voice in that review.
If you're Fartbutt 9000,
I was reading it, so probably me.
If you're Fartbutt 9000, send us an email at storylords@gmail.com to tell us who you are, so we can congratulate you.
Storylordspod.
Storylordspod@gmail.com.
Yeah.
All
you
right.
made it.
Pros
I?
before pros.
Did I?
That does still exist.
M-class email.
Okay, so as always, but thanks for that review. If you want to leave a review, it really helps the podcast, so please go and do them. And you always get them read out. Like, if you want to say something that is vaguely funny, we will always read it out.
Say it to my face, mother. Oh, yeah, no, that, yeah.
Big thanks, as always, to Vidizen for the use of his music. We are wall to wall with Vidizen music now. It's like, it's in us, it's around us.
That's sort of the downside of doing your story first. Like, you get to do your story out of the way, but you don't get any of your cool Vidizen music for your type of story you play.
What? No, it's the last one that I make be suffer.
Why don't we then?
Oh, cause you play the story you just heard's music.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's how I do it.
Well, what?
Yeah.
There's an easy way to do that. We could take another break at the end of part 3 and then just come back for the extra bit at the end, the outro. Look, do you want a job or not?
Oh, God!
Uh-oh.
I'm sorry, sir, please!
Or we could swap it around and do. Oh no, I'm not going to make you more work. Fuck me.
No, it doesn't. I don't. Whatever,
I'll fuck
man.
you.
So, Vidizen, you can find out all about him. He's got like, just go to vidizen.card.co. With 2 R's. There's lots of stuff about, like, I'm pretty sure he's got tour dates and stuff like that on there as well, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Let's find out.
Yeah. But
I think he does.
He's got all his albums are on there. You can find them on Spotify.
I mean, like, he has
but you
links to
should.
everything. If you want to find out any information about him, there's a link you could follow.
But yeah, go and
I will
buy
talk
his
to him
albums
about
as
putting
well.
tour dates and stuff up here. Because, like, I asked him to tell me the tour dates. Like, I would hit him up before we record every time, and I've done it, like, twice. Because I'm a piece of shit. So.
Yeah, but then we could load it up pre-episode and read it out. If we remember.
If you sub more 69 pledges, I'll steal his hair in the nighttime and send it to you in a locket.
Beautiful.
That's,
I won't.
That's certainly
I won't
not.
do that.
That's certainly not assault.
I have enough of it already in my bathroom.
If you ever want to get into,
Why bathroom? Is my question.
Because it's his pubes.
that's where he threes. That's his free place.
We shave our pubes into cool S's, don't you guys?
Yeah.
Look, whatever makes me cool and accepted.
Peer pressure. So if you want to get in touch with us about your pubes and the shape they're in, send us an email at storylordspod@gmail.com, and then anything else you want to know about us, you can find out at storylords.card with 2Rs.co. I think that's everything.
Or storylords.page.
Or storylords.page. That's the other thing. I always forget that one. Storylords.
You're doing great.
I have a little checklist now to make sure I go through it because I.
No, I'm serious. I'm you and Jeff. I marvel at your organization at the end of these shows because I'm just like I don't know. And
like, you know, talking at the end of the podcast is not fun with sore throats, right? I don't know how we do Afterlords sometimes because I'm tired.
We like talking to each other.
That's true.
I will say that the big secret of, like, both After Lords and Jeff and Josh Shoot the Shit is sometimes it's before Lords.
Yeah.
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 Sometimes we just gotta talk about X-Men or Legos or both.
Yeah.
That's mostly it.
X-Men, the new X-Men
Those are the
episode's
two.
out tomorrow. Also, no, I'm going to save this for after conversation. Next time we are dicks and dominatrices. I mean, we're always dicks.
True.
We're always dominatrices. So, come back in 2 weeks for a new episode of Story Lords where we will knock your little balls off with great storytelling and laughter.
Just insulting the testicle size of our audience.
We will slap your tiny balls right off.
There you go. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Whoosh.